Right off the bat in this episode, we can see a cart carrying masks roll by, and one of them is the Blue Spirit mask. Zuko clearly hit up this cart because the other Blue Spirit mask he had was probably torched when he was nearly assassinated. What's even cooler is that you can hear a little bit of the Blue Spirit music as it passes, super quietly. These are split-second moments, but we can see Katara studying the scrolls Pakku gave them, and Sokka sharpening his machete. Little stuff like that really makes these characters feel alive.
I don't know. Boomy said to learn earthbending I would have to wait and listen. And now I'm actually hearing the earth. Do you want me to ignore it?
Yes.
I don't know. There's something ominous about that place.
It's a tad strange that Sokka gets this foreboding feeling the same as everyone else, but then once they're actually stranded in the swamp, he's Mr. Science and Reason Lover all over again. Okay, this is a total nitpick here, but in my head, the three kids look like they're gigantic as they get flung here, right? It's also really weird how they get Dragon Ball Z'd through a mile of trees and then just fall directly downwards into the swamp without a scratch on them. I mean, last season, Aang went flying through some trees and he got beat to hell.
Sokka, you've got an elbow leech.
Where? Where?
Where do you think?
Why do things keep attaching to me?
This line might feel a little weird, unless you remember last episode when Sokka was covered in pentapusses.
We need to find Appa as fast as we can.
I've always liked these little Predator moments, not only in Avatar, but in pretty much everything. It's used in a lot of stuff. It's a really good way to show that your character's being watched, but without it being given away as to what's watching them, which makes the whole situation a lot more interesting.
There's no way they can hear us.
What do you mean there's no way they can hear you? What if they can, like, hear you with their ears? This is a really strange shot. It shows the gang set up their camp in a hollowed out tree, but then the next shot literally hinges around them being able to be seen from all sides, and there's only like this little, I guess, wall of tree behind them. That's a really weird mistake to make. What animal do you figure is making that noise? The closest I could think is a badger frog, which isn't in my top 10 threatening Avatar animals. Might be number like 15. This is a fun little cutaway. King of the jungle Appa, baby! Appa probably is the biggest thing in the swamp at the moment by a wide margin, so he probably doesn't have anything to fear, other than the most dangerous creature of them all.
It turns out it's man.
Ah, I'm getting some original Evil Dead vibes here, man. And if you've seen that movie, you know those are bad vibes. So it turns out Hugh is bending the vines, right? But dude has to be master among masters to be doing this. Attacking 3 different people, precisely running in different directions? Dude must be a god. Look at this! Appa fears no creature, land or sea. I'm having a tough time coming up with an animal alive in this time period that isn't assumed extinct at least, that could take a sky bison. Why does Sokka insist on having his mouth open in very sketchy bodies of water? Freaks me the fuck out, man. Okay, so Sokka being a skeptic about anything being screwy is fine. Good, works for his character, great. But when he sees a literal incarnation of the moon spirit, who he's personally acquainted with, it should start to put some doubts in his mind, I think. Considering he's been to the spirit world and all. You just couldn't have a show with fusion animals and not put in the whole when pigs fly thing, could you guys?
Is that a little hairy fella riding that thing? No, that's what they call a lemur. Saw one at a traveling show once. Real smart, they say.
Bet he tastes a lot like possum chicken.
You think everything tastes like possum chicken.
Dude drops his possum chicken line, but I bet you never noticed that they literally show you possum chicken like 30 seconds prior. There he is, and he's in my nightmares too, and yours.
Nothing to worry about, we just fixing to eat ya.
What'd you say that for?
Well, we are.
But you don't have to tell them that.
Well, how'd I know they'd understand me?
This is an interesting little piece of evidence for the argument that Appa literally understands human language. That is, you know, that he clearly gets what was just said. But there's more evidence later in the show, too.
It's just a tree. It can't call anyone. For the last time, there's nothing after us, and there's nothing magical happening here.
He's still technically right up to this point. Between shots here, the gang does a little switcheroo in places, so Sokka can get chased and grabbed. Avatar is really good at this. Realistically, what the hell is Sokka gonna do in this fight? Swing his machete at the regenerating vine monster? He doesn't really have a role to play, but they still find a way to have him be important in the scene. He's being captured or held onto for some unknown reason, so he's still involved. It keeps him from just being a cheerleader on the sidelines, which is really smart. I feel like a lot of shows fall into that trap. Here's another one of Katara's classic, I'm gonna run up really close to whatever I'm fighting for no reason moments. You're a waterbender, Katara, throw water at it, you dummy. That's another thing in this episode. Like before when they got set flying through all the trees DBZ style, people get ragdolled and sent flying tens if not hundreds of feet in this episode, to no injuries. I don't like that. It makes the action feel cheap. Yo, this is a crazy little detail. Remember the tiara Momo brought Katara back in the Blue Spirit? He domes Do here with it. That's awesome.
Now, what would a lemur need a shirt for?
Yet another, yeah, that makes sense moment, where the viewer isn't explicitly told that waterbenders can bend vines or plants, but it's just a natural extension of the magic system, so the viewer can easily just accept it and say, yeah, that makes sense.
I get how the tree is one big thing, but the whole world?
Sure. You think you're any different from me, or your friends, or this tree? If you listen hard enough, you can hear every living thing breathing together. You can feel everything growing.
The little talk from Hugh was really nice. It doesn't talk down to its audience, even though it's expected to be kids.
Sorry to interrupt the lesson, but we still need to find Appa and Momo.
I think I know how to find them. Everything is connected.
Alright, this is a pretty wild little guru power that Aang never exhibits again. The swamp may be helping him since it's a place that's literally all connected, but gee, this would have been really useful during the 7 or so episodes where Appa is literally gone.
Appa!
Oh! We're under attack!
Hey, you guys are waterbenders.
You too? That means we're kin.
Is this where the meme originated from? This is literally the same picture, right? This is the meme! This is the meme!
Where'd you say you was from?
The South Pole.
Didn't know they was waterbenders anywhere but here. They got a nice swamp there, do they?
That's pretty interesting. They didn't know about any other waterbenders? Is this like an uncontacted tribe? It can't be, because Tho said he went to a traveling show once. How is it possible they don't know about other waterbenders?
What about the visions?
I told you we were hungry. I'm eating a giant bug.
But what about when the tree showed me where Appa and Momo were?
That's Avatar stuff. That doesn't count.
He's right.
More moon continuity. Alright, it was a full moon last episode, Avatar. You can't have 2 in a row. Get out of here. And here's how Zuko gets his swords again, too. In a lot of shows, I feel like that could have just been swept under the rug, like, oh, Zuko just has his blue spirit gear. But it wouldn't have made sense, considering the circumstances. This is the kind of long-term continuity and care and detail that makes Avatar so special. So I gotta be honest, this is another pretty weak one if you ask me. Not a lot happens, it's just mostly the gang wandering around the swamp with some gags here and there, and cutaways to Appa and Momo, which are just more gags. And honestly, it's not that funny of an episode. The vision idea is cool, I guess, but it doesn't really go anywhere. It hints at Toph, but the rest of the visions just eat the time code, and don't really mean much. We already know Katara misses her mom, but I guess it is nice to see that Sokka still thinks about Yue. It just took too much time for me, personally. The action is also kind of weirdly over the top, which doesn't really feel like Avatar. Like, people get destroyed and sent flying, it just feels weird. And unlike some other weaker episodes, this doesn't have a lot of Zuko and Iroh to come in and save the day. Patron shoutouts! If you want to see the next episode of Overanalyzing Avatar right now, you can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. You'll be 1 episode ahead going forward if you help me out on there. Biggest shoutouts of all go to Fritz Sullivan, who can speak 26 different languages, 3 are of unknown, perhaps extraterrestrial origin, and Keegan Scott, who bench pressed a school bus off of a kid's leg who got pinned under it. Seriously, look it up. Other huge shoutouts go to my other top patrons: Be My Valentine, Code Canut, DJ Jax, Derek Cornwell, I said that out of order, Do Mutual Aid, Garmer, Glintlock, Mana, Nicholas Abbott, Plarkler Glass, Skylo, Super Snipper, and Tiago Nascimento. Fuck it, I'm keeping that take. Next one up is Avatar Day, which is just one more until the Blind Bandit.